Before we get started today, I wanted to take a moment to say a special thank you to Jan May. I asked her a couple of weeks ago if it would be okay for me to share this particular episode in honor of her husband and my friend, Jerry May. You see, today is April the 24th, and it would have been Jerry's 60th birthday. So I pray that you will join me in praying for Jan and her son and daughter, Olivia and Walker, but also honoring Jerry today by remembering him, sharing stories with friends about him that will allow him on his birthday to be honored and remembered. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to the Agape Leaders Podcast. This week we have a special episode in that I am going to play for you a couple of videos. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, of course, you won't see them, but a year ago, not quite, almost 2 years ago now, in July the 12th, 2021, my friend Jerry May was on the podcast and he did what we call a Monday motivation. And I want to air it here for you today in honor of him because it is his birthday. April the 24th is his birthday. And so I want to honor him. I miss him and I love him. So after the episode is over, I will come back. But would you join me in honoring Jerry as we listen to his Monday Motivation video?
I want to thank my good friend, Dr. Gregg Mays, for allowing me to share a little bit of my story with you. Gregg and I have become very good friends over the last several years, and I'm blessed to have him in my life, and I'm honored that he would ask me to share. I learned a very valuable lesson last year in 2020 that nothing is too big for God. A good friend of mine from back home always had a saying. He would say, "Don't worry about the mule, just load the wagon." If you wanted him to do something, don't worry about him getting it done. Just tell him what you want him to do. And I found out that God is exactly that way, that there's nothing too big for God to handle. In January of 2020, my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. And those were some crushing words for a father, for a parent, my wife and I, to learn that your child has cancer. And I asked all the usual questions. Why, Lord? Why my family? Why my daughter? Why? And I absolutely had my doubts at that time. I know the rest of my family, their faith was much stronger than mine, no question. Um, they started asking for prayers, and there was an army of people that pitched in, that stepped up and started praying for our family. The doctors and the nurses saw the faith that my daughter, that my wife, that my son had. They could see the faith in them, and they shared their own stories of their own personal faith while they were there in the hospital with us. And just to see that reflection, that they saw the faith in my daughter, in my wife, in my son. They saw that faith and were comfortable in sharing their faith and were happy to share their faith. And, I saw miracles. I absolutely saw miracles that were prayed for and delivered. And I came to realize that there are a lot of things that are just too big for me. And I don't like to admit that. But my child being in that situation, I'm supposed to be able to take care of them. I'm supposed to be able to take care of my daughter, but that was too big for me, and that's hard to admit. But I saw the power of prayer. I saw the power of faith. I saw the power of miracles. I saw miracles happen uh, through the faith, through the prayers that were going on around my daughter at that time. Um, so I came to realize that, hey, I had to turn it over. I'm not in control. I can't handle it. I can't get this done. I need help. And once I was able to realize that and rely on my faith, then it still wasn't an easy road, but I knew that everything was going to be okay. Couple of scriptures that I found when I was preparing this. A couple of them in Luke. Nothing is impossible with God. That's Luke 137, and then Luke 18:27. It says, "What is impossible with man is possible with God." I learned that lesson last year. So, in the words of my good friend Carl Moy, don't worry about the mule, just load the wagon. Whatever troubles you're having, whatever help you need, don't worry about it being too big for God, because it's not. Don't worry about that mule, just load that wagon.
I remember when Jerry recorded that, and that is one of the most viewed Monday motivation videos that we've had at Agape Leaders. And it was a testament to just how much Jerry was loved, is loved. Because those of us who know him, we have not stopped honoring him. We have not stopped loving him. So many lessons that he taught me. And I pray that you will take that lesson that he taught us today. God is more than able. You don't worry about the mule. You just load the wagon. He and I had so many conversations even about that and so many other things. And I want to encourage you. Be the friend that people need, because you don't know how long you're going to be able to be in that person's life, whichever way you want to call that. And you also don't know the impact you're having. I don't know that Jerry knows the positive impact that he had on my life. I still think about our conversations, and I want you to remember him today. Those of you who know him, take time out of your busy schedule and remember him. I want to close this week a little different than normal. God blessed me and put some words on my heart right after Jerry passed. And I want to play those here as we close. Thank you for listening. Pray that you'll have a blessed day. Dear Jerry, it has been 3 days since we had to say goodbye to you. The hole you have left seems too great to fill. The tears that have flown are too numerous to count. Simply put, you are a man who is greatly loved and will be greatly missed. We are sad that we will no longer hear your infectious laugh or learn from your country-born wisdom. But know that all who knew you are better because of your presence in our lives. Although we can no longer speak with you daily, we can recall the conversations of past and be reminded of your ability to be present in the moment, making the person to whom you were speaking feel as if they were the only person on the planet. That is a rare quality. As we say goodbye, please know that the legacy of Christ you have left will be followed and honored by many. You truly fought the good fight. You have finished the race. Go get the crown laid up for you by Jesus Christ. You will be missed, but we will press on. You wouldn't want that any other way. With a sad heart and sincere love, your friend, the other Mays.